Hey guys, I'm Jay Flynn. I'm the director of the Homes for Heroes Foundation. I'm down here in Cobb County, Georgia, and I'm joined with some really special guests with Gotcha Covered Blankets. And Donna, if you don't mind, introduce yourself, and then we'll let everybody tell us who they are and what their role is.
I'm Mitchell Georgiana. I am the founder of Gotcha Covered Blankets, which was founded in my son's memory after the tragic passing of him 3.5 years ago. The purpose of the foundation started out for every custom-made blanket that we sell, we put one into a patrol car for the officers to give out whatever they see the need may be. We have expanded a little bit, trying to make a difference in the wellness area for officers with mental health.
And I'm Paul Georgiana, Donna's husband, and I pretty much just pick up the blankets. I pretty much do what I can to just help Donna with the cause, and it's just an amazing thing. So
I'm Katie. I'm Mitchell's sister. I am the secretary on the board, and I also just help with the events and any support that I can.
And I'm Chris Michael, I'm a retired Cobb County police officer from here in Cobb, and I am on the board with Gotcha Covered Blankets. And because of my role and my history with struggling with my own mental health, when we go to give blankets to departments, I speak with the chiefs and the sheriffs to emphasize the need for mental health support.
That's awesome. So guys, the Homes for Heroes Foundation, through the Homes for Heroes Circle of Giving, is able to support nonprofits all over the nation that support our heroes for exactly the things like you're doing to help support the mental health of our law enforcement officers. Gianni couldn't be with us today. Unfortunately, he has some personal things he's got to take care of, and Leslie couldn't be with us today because she's unfortunately has a little bit of sickness that she's dealing with. But if they were here, they would join me in congratulating you guys and honoring you guys with this $5,000 Homes for Heroes Foundation grant to support Gotcha Covered Blankets. Congratulations. So Donna, it's our honor to support you guys and support Gotcha Covered Blankets. Take just a minute and tell the story behind Gotcha Covered Blankets and what you're doing in the law enforcement community.
Unfortunately, November 16th of 21 was the day that forever changed our lives. It was the morning that I would come downstairs and find my son who had taken his life sometime during the night. Our world was forever changed and forever rocked. And 3 days later, I was standing in his bedroom, literally crying out to God and asking him why. And even though I have great faith, I didn't understand why my son, who was so amazing and such a servant, and he was on top of the world. The night before, he had been with my mom, and he was talking to her about working on his master's degree. She was telling him how she worried about him working at nights, and he was like, I love it, that's where all the excitement is. And he wanted to work on his master's degree, talking about buying a new truck. So to say that we didn't have any signs, we truly didn't. And I couldn't wrap my head around this, and I was just standing in his room holding on to a Snoopy. He loves Snoopy, and there's stuffed Snoopy in there. And I'm just screaming out, why? And something came over me that I knew I had to honor him for the rest of his life. I did not know what that meant. I did not know what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to do something. And I got on the phone at 6:30 in the morning, and I called my mom, and I said, I don't know how, but we have to keep his name alive. And of course my mom agreed. She said, yeah, he was too precious not to. I called a lieutenant at the time, now major, with the city of Smyrna, and he knew that my son was an avid golfer. And I said, you gotta help me. We gotta do a golf tournament, we have to do something. He said, we will help you, we will help you. And called my friend who's a financial broker, and I said, I've gotta do something. I don't know how to do it. What do? I need to do something. She said, well, let's just get through the funeral. And so we did. And by this point that weekend, as a family, we had all, and our support group of friends were all at the house, and I started thinking about one of the last texts he had sent me, and it was on Sunday evening. And he had texted me and he said, "Do you have any old blankets that you can get rid of?" My response to him was, "For what?" And he called me. He's like, "Mom, it's getting cold out and I've seen a lot of homeless people." Well, I'm sitting in the recliner next to the fire going, oh my gosh, yes, I'll get you some blankets. Never dreaming. And we decided we're gonna honor this wish of his. And while we were discussing it and talking about it, we said, we'll just take up blankets. Had no idea what we were going to do. And my mom actually said, we need to see if we can get them custom made. Never ever dreaming that this would be reality. But if I can get through the holidays, we'll work on it after the holidays. Unfortunately, his funeral was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. In January, I started making calls, and I made a call to a local sporting goods store in Smyrna that we've known the family forever. And I said, "Hey, can you get me a custom-made blanket?" And he said, "Yes." And so we did. We had the blanket made, and it was beautiful. It's in his memory. I need to get one to bring in. In his memory with his badge number. We started out, as we were researching and learning how to start a foundation, we were like, we have to have a fundraiser to get the money to buy the initial blankets. And, our goal was if we could just get all of Smyrna covered with blankets by the end of 22, we're doing a good thing. At our very first fundraiser, we raised enough money to provide blankets for all of Smyrna that spring. And so then we started moving into Cobb County, precinct by precinct. And by the end of 22, we had blankets in all of Cobb County. And I can tell you now, we have surrounding counties, surrounding cities, and we have sent blankets to 12 different countries through either missionaries or Deputy Chief with Cobb County just got back from Austria. He took a blanket to Austria. And amazing story there. He came home and told me, he said, "Can you write up exactly all the countries that the blankets are in?" And the whole story, he said, because they are very proactive in Austria and they want to make a plaque about Mitchell in the blanket.
Wow.
And so it's amazing. And someone told me the other day, you have two deaths. You have your physical death, but you have the real death when your name is no longer spoken. And of course, as a mom, I'm going to keep his name alive forever. And but the difference that the stories that come back where these officers are giving out to policemen, where these officers are giving out to the community, it's amazing. It's not just the homeless. It's anyone that's been in an accident, because when you're traumatized, you're cold. We had one of our good friends at Smyrna helped a lady rescue a dog one night that unfortunately had died. He had the blanket to wrap up. And so it's been a journey. We have taken on this whole other avenue, and this is thanks to Captain Michael, who I will let him share more of his story, but he was actually on scene at my house the day that Mitchell passed, and we had no idea. And his full circle moment, this is his passion, is to help officers in the mental health field. So like we said, when we go to departments to deliver blankets, he goes with me, and we just try to talk to them about the importance of taking care of our officers overall.
Absolutely. Well, we're honored to come inside of you and help honor Mitchell's legacy and support this mission of helping our officers. So thank you, Donna.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, Captain, so we heard how you kind of are the guy that's sort of taking the lead on having those conversations about mental health with the police chiefs and with sheriffs. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing to make a difference.
So I was a lieutenant when I got a call that set everything in motion for me. I was 20 years on the job, thought I was doing quite well, moving along good, been through a lot of critical traumatic events in my career, but ended up going to a car fire where a young girl passed away, and that event just sent me into a spiral. So I started experiencing the depression, the anxiety, went into suicidal ideation, and suffered with that for a couple of years, and hid it from everybody. been through enough suicide awareness classes that I knew what people looked for and I knew what not to show. So I was able to hide it. So I went through that for a long time, struggling and suffering on the inside. When I finally decided to speak about it to someone, it wasn't a family member, it was a coworker. It was a college professor that I was working another project with for community mental health. And the first time I told her, because I held back after the meeting, I was like, hey, I need to talk with you. And she's like, what's up? I said, I'm suicidal. Saying those words the first time was almost painful to say. But I got through that. I was okay at the moment to go home, went home, called my wife on the way home because I wasn't ready to face her and tell her. But I told her on the phone. It was a little bit easier that second time. And then when I talked about it again, it was a little bit easier. So what I found was the hardest part is taking that first step and asking for help. And now I got promoted to captain in the process of all this kind of stuff because when I was hiding, they didn't know. But I think the department would have supported me anyway because the way it was happening. But I started teaching classes to recruits and their families. Hey, this is what to expect mentally from the job. These are the ways the body reacts. These are the parts of the brain, the hormones, the normal human part of us that you didn't get taught during the academy. So I was teaching them that kind of stuff because what my goal was to keep anybody else from getting to the point that I got to. And so that they could understand it when it started happening, they recognized it would seek help earlier on. I would also talk with more veteran officers. And at the end of those, I would always get my God, I thought I was alone. I thought I was the only one that thought that way. I didn't think anybody else would understand this. And I'd get 3 or 4 out of each group. So, like you said earlier, one person talks, opens somebody else up, that snowballs into them helping somebody because they understand that we can talk about it, we can get the help. And at this point, I've decided, if you're working for a department that doesn't understand this and they shun you and whatever, there's another department out there that'll take you and understand it. There's no point in suffering and risking your own health and the love of your family and friends for the job.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know that one of the things from the fire side of the house, we say it's okay not to be okay. That same statement transitions over, and then just taking that step and being willing to talk about it. Man, that snowball effect and how much more good you're going to be able to do and other folks you're going to be able to help. I sure appreciate you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
So, Delonte, I understand that Got You Covered Blankets and this entire mission and Mitchell's legacy has helped make a difference in your life. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, this goes back to a little bit further than this year. Actually, never forget it. When Mitchell passed away, I was actually in the police academy, and I remember when we all received the news because I had a few people that were in my class that knew him, and just seeing the devastation that it took on them, and just seeing how I wanted to be there but didn't know the best way to be there for them. Fast forward 4 years later, May 24th of 2025, I had my own crisis. I got off of work. I had it was an incident at work that was kind of, for me, what I say is the straw that broke the camel's back. I backed into my driveway. I just started screaming in my car, yelling, saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this. Why me? And then at that point, I proceeded to, take my firearm out of my holster, and I just set it on my lap and just continued to cry. And then at that point, I was maybe in the car for about 15 minutes, and then I decided to call Cobb 911, and I was so grateful for the peer support team that came out there with me. They were actually at my department earlier in the year from an officer-involved shooting where, unfortunately, I lost one of my coworkers and one of my close friends. And you know, it was that accumulated with stuff going on, you know, at home and then work just all piled up. And I just had it. That was the final tipping point. I was able to find such a wonderful program in Florida, right outside Miami. And I spent a month and a half in treatment. But down there, you know, all I thought about was Got You Covered, Blankets Foundation, being that the important work that Donna and her family is doing for the mental health world, but not only the mental health world, the police officers, first responders. And as I was down there, I was like, I don't think we had anything in Metro Atlanta that a foundation that's going around doing what they're doing. And just being that I have friends that worked, you know, with Mitchell that knew him. So I was like, even though I never personally met him, I still had that connection with him through, you know, our friends. So I returned home and I had a celebration, and it was perfect timing because all I got home was I didn't know when I was gonna call Donna to tell her, like, this is what I just went through. And part of me, I was scared. I was absolutely scared because I just didn't know how our conversation was gonna go. But somehow I was on my way driving home and I got a phone call from her. And it was, I told her, I was like, it's so funny because I was gonna call you tomorrow. And I think as I was on the way home, we were on the phone, I think for at least 45 minutes, and I laid it out to her from beginning to end. And from there, I just wanted to, you know, thank her for what she's doing. You know, her family, Paul, you know, Katie, and, you know, the lives that they're saving and the difference that they're making, you know, in the first responder world is, it's huge, and it's inspired me to go out here and want to tell, you know, my story to let everyone know.
Absolutely. And what you're doing is going to help somebody else, and it's going to be that snowball effect. And I know that's really what this is all about, is reaching just one more, right?
Yes, sir.
And helping somebody through that crisis.
Yes,
If you don't mind, I know I'm a big dude, but
Thank
man, I'm so honored to hear that you came through that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chief, Major, thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to join us today. Obviously, Smyrna Police, you know, you guys were impacted tremendously by the loss of Mitchell, and you guys were there for the family. Tell us a little bit about how that impacted or maybe changed things within your department. Anything you'd like to share?
Sure. So being in public safety, you know, we train for everything, right? You're constantly training, you're constantly preparing, you're doing tabletop exercises on this scenario and that scenario. Nothing can prepare you for this type of loss. You can go through a lot of training, but as the chief, as command staff in an agency that is a size of ours, which is about 90 sworn officers, about a little over 100 employees, everybody knows everybody. And so this tragedy affected everybody in the department. And one of the big takeaways that we knew in the days following Mitchell's tragic death, it was all about, you know, what do we do next? And what can we do next for our employees, for the agency? What can we do next for the family? And what grew out of it was a little bit, you know, what little bit of support that we play in this amazing family's journey and creating this nonprofit and doing everything that they've been able to do. But also recognizing the things that we need to do for our employees as far as support and a multifaceted approach to mental health and mental health support for our employees.
Absolutely.
We, over 22 years, we've never had anything like this. And Mitchell was such a bright star for us to see him. It's as you said, there was nothing to us that, you know, indicated something that we would see. He had everything going. He was a hard charger. You know, just everything. You couldn't help but like the guy, and he was well liked by everybody. And when you meet his family, you understand why that is. And through this, it's been a kind of a learning curve for all of us, and it's been my honor to be with the family through that department. And we have learned a whole lot, but we still have more to learn.
Absolutely, and I think that, that could probably resound across the nation in, emergency services agencies, law enforcement agencies, that yes, we're doing better, but there's more we can do, for sure. Thank you guys for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Grants from the Homes for Heroes Foundation are made possible by the Homes for Heroes Circle of Giving and its network of real estate professionals who are committed to providing savings to hero groups such as firefighters, EMS, law enforcement, military, active and veterans, healthcare professionals, and teachers. Thank you for watching another Homes for Heroes Foundation grant video about the impact we are making in the hero community with our nonprofit partners. Don't forget to subscribe to the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel, and to learn more about the savings available to heroes through Homes for Heroes, or to learn more about how the Homes for Heroes Foundation is helping heroes in dire need, visit homesforheroes.com.